the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.
G'day, viewers and listeners, and it's Ed Fox back with another great episode of Nashville 2. And I'm so excited for my guest. I have a wordsmith on, well, actually a Patricia Smith, who loves words. And we like playing with words. My word of the day lately has been obsequious. Obsequious. And so we might get into that word. We may not. It's hard working that into a sentence. I have to remember ubiquitous and obsequious. I say the wrong ones. Yeah, there's a plethora of choices when it comes to words. Okay, guys, if you're still listening, Nashville 2 is about telling Middle Tennessee stories. We love having business owners, nonprofits, mentors, people doing cool things in their community. And so when I run into cool people, I want them on the show. But I can't run into everybody around Middle Tennessee. That would be exhausting. But if you know somebody that should be on the show, have them reach out. I'd love to talk to them. And now our special guest, Patricia Smith, wordsmith. That'll work. Hey, Patricia, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Ed. I enjoy your company.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes. So I don't know if you know Gail Goodman, but we were sitting at a Panera and she was helping me and she was talking about how sometimes people are overly attentive. And she used the word obsequious. And I'm like, okay. I'm a word guy. I love words. I love word. You know the difference between an entomologist and an etymologist? The etymologist knows the difference.
Good job. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. So, folks, an entomologist is a bug guy, you know, like Grissom on CSI back in the day. And an etymologist is a word person. So they would know what the words mean. So, so she used obsequious. And I'm like, I get out my notepad and I start, spell that for me, Gail. And she texts it to me. So, Patricia, do you have favorite words?
Well, actually, I do have a Wednesday word of the day that I share on Facebook and the different Bellevue pages, and also a Thursday tongue twister. And I try to put it on my screen. So today is chicane. So from last week, I had a friend at the YMCA and said, I bet you don't know what chicane means. And I said, are we related to chicanery? No. So apparently a chicane is a serpentine route that is designed to exercise people's driving abilities, whether on 2 wheels or 4.
Right. Yep. Chicane. Well, I knew it from motor racing. So you go through the chicanes, which is like that, the but they started using it in Australian streets. Instead of just the straight layout of grids, they put the chicanes in to slow down people on residential streets.
Sensible, very sensible.
There you go. So I knew that word, which, you know, I'm a 9th grade dropout, but I love to read and I love words. We do a thing with the kids when we're driving. I'm like, what's a word that you've heard recently? And my kids I got one of the kids that loves plethora. When he was like 7, he's now 30, but he would use plethora all the time. You know, what do you want to eat? He says, I don't know. There's a plethora of choices. I'm like, there is a plethora of choices, but make a decision, you know? So Patricia, how long have you been in Middle Tennessee?
I got to move here at 15 years old.
Okay,
and
so a year or two.
A year or two. So rapid mathematics, I am looking forward to my 50th high school reunion. I got to go to school at St. Cecilia Academy over there by the hospitals. And it was a wonderful experience for this New Jersey girl who came from a very large high school, 5 gymnasiums, down to 1 hallway of 11 classrooms. Big changes.
I bet. And married a Nashvilleian native?
I did not marry him right away at age 15, but I did marry John Zipperer, who is born and raised here and very proud to call himself a resident native beginning Nashvilleian. He's one of the first.
Well, cool. And you guys live out at Bellevue area?
We're in Bellevue. Now, when we first moved here with my parents, we were in West Nashville over by St. Henry Church, but now we're further out by the Loveless Cafe, a wonderful place to eat if you ever are hungry for biscuits and country ham and fried chicken and fried okra. All that good Southern stuff is right there every day for you at Loveless Cafe.
Yeah. Now I wasn't. I tell people I wasn't born here, but I got here as fast as I could. And fried okra when fried okra is crunchy. Trouble is, every time I go to Loveless, the wait's like an hour and a half, and it's like nah, I can't do that. But obviously it's good. Puckett's is another good one too. But Bellevue, my favorite place to go out in the Bellevue way is the Well, the coffee shop.
I was there last week. Yes, I saw some friends out there last week. A very lovely place. Now, if you're a fried okra guy, drive a little further and you won't have a line, I think, at the Country Cafe in Fairview.
Okay. Country Cafe. Fairview. When fried okra is good, it's better than movie popcorn. When it's good.
Good.
Yeah.
I got to harvest 7 beefsteak tomatoes out of my front yard in Bellevue today. I'm so excited.
I got put on to Cherokee purple tomatoes when I first moved to Tennessee 3 years ago. And the flavor of the ugly looking tomatoes, they sort of like, I hit it off with the Cherokee purple tomatoes because they kind of remind me of myself, like ugly but tasty. My dad always said I had a great face for radio, and that's probably true. But Patricia, your voice sounds so professional. What sort of background did you have to become? And I know you work a lot more, not just as a voice actor or a voiceover artist, but more of like instructional videos and corporate and educational stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that.
Thank you, Ed. Yes, I spent many years serving as the communicator for the Tennessee Housing Development Agency, the Tennessee Supreme Court, the American Red Cross Blood Services, and it just was important to listen carefully to the question and to give an answer that was going to work for that medium. And so I've been very careful. I also read at my church, at St. Matthew Church. We have 2 readings by lay people each Mass. And so it all came out because I stuttered. I stuttered as a child, and so I had to work extra hard to make sure I was understood. And it really has turned into a career for me and something I love to do even now in retirement.
So isn't there some famous other voice people? Was James Earl Jones, was he a stutterer, or somebody of that caliber was a stutterer that I was surprised to find out the other day?
Yeah, I can't pull that name. Of course, I always love to find out that actors and actresses come from a different country while we're watching them in American TV, and they pull together the American accent. So they're just very talented. As I've told you before, I have been paid to talk like this, but I'd really rather do corporate videos. If you have training for a new employee or a new HR piece of information or just a new program you want to talk about to customers, that's the kind of voice work I'd like to do. And I'm happy to practice with high schoolers as they're getting ready for their college presentations. I could chat with them online and give them some exercise and talk about their word choice and their eye contact. So it's all about words, all about talking. We communicate, we might as well communicate well.
Exactly. People go, oh, I don't like Zoom. It's hard for me. There's no personal connection. I would prefer to be in person. Absolutely. But I believe if you take care and you notice stuff and you pay attention, you can connect like this, right? We can connect. One of the best relationships I have and one of the best friends I've created in the last 3 years is a gentleman out of New York that we do a podcast together called The Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul. And he's been in insurance for 40 years. We've only met in person once, but it was after about 2 years, and I already considered him one of my best friends, that we flew out there to meet him and his wife. So you can connect, but you have to be serious about it, right? The same as when you speak, you enunciate very well. One of the things that I have trouble with is the Aussie accent sometimes gets in the way. I make fun about my wife growing up in Kansas. In Western Kansas, they say things like they put a T on ludicrous. So ludicrous becomes ludicrous, and across the street, and wash instead of wash, and vehicles. So I'm giving a hard time to my wife and her sisters. And then I realized that she starts throwing back, well, at least we can pronounce our T's. We can say cartoon or 13 or tattoo. And I say tattoo, cartoon, 13. Like my T's turn into D's, right? So you have to, I think you have to pay attention if you want to be a better speaker, you have to pay attention. I always love Toastmasters for that.
It's a marvelous program. And it's the same thing with making relationships. If you care about that person, you're going to ask them when they told you 2 weeks ago, oh, I'm having trouble with my car. Go ahead and ask them, how's the car working out? Do you have it smoothed out? So it's paying attention. It's following up with people.
Exactly. I just saw a lady on Facebook that I hadn't talked to for a couple of years, and she sold her business and moved on to a farm. And so I just reached out and say, hey, I saw your post. How's it going? We haven't talked in a couple of years. If you want to chat. And we just had this long chat in Facebook Messenger about her health and looking to be more natural with her food. And so moving that, it doesn't take much to just pay attention to people, have a bit of effort. So all of that's important, and it goes into how we build relationships, right? Words matter. So one of the programs I love is Toastmasters. Although, have you ever been to a Toastmasters program or gone through one of those?
I have not been through it. I know it's a marvelous program. I have seen people's progress. It's marvelous. Right. Well done.
Yeah, I did the ATM Silver and Phoenix Award and a few other awards back in early 2000s. The only trouble is they teach you about your grammatical errors and your ums, your enders, your nose, rights. So I'm sitting and we get this preacher one day, because our preacher's out of town, 162 ums. The only in like a 40-minute sermon, the only downside to going through Toastmasters is you can't not hear them. But apart from that, my wife's like, I'm sitting there with the bulletin, I'm doing hash marks or on how many times he says ums or filler words or stuff. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I went to Toastmasters for 6 months and now I cannot not hear him saying But
as a business owner, it can be tiring paying cash for everything you need. Well, there's a better way. Introducing Trade Bank of Nashville. Our bartering service lets you exchange goods and services without the need for cash transactions. Trade Bank helps businesses like yours reduce expenses, bring in new business, and keep your cash where you need it most. Find out more and join our barter network today. Start getting what you need without paying cash, because sometimes barter is just smarter. Apply today at nashville.tradebank.com.
With you semi-retired, you're still doing a bit of voice work, or you're still teaching others? What are you doing in your semi-retirement?
Well, my company is called Her Voice Works. And so I do my little marketing with the Wednesday Word and the Thursday Tongue Twister. I learned how to use Instagram. And I put my voice out there. I'm inviting people if they need somebody to do a video. I've just done the narration today on a video for a commercial for a not-for-profit who teaches high school girls all about Wall Street.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very excited about that. And I'm working with a fellow right now who is very interested in the Shroud of Turin. So at his advanced age, like us, he has made 133 PowerPoint slides all about the Shroud of Turin research that he has done. And so he's got my voice in there doing that. And so I use a subscription service where auditions are posted, and I send in my voice and see if it works for that client. It's great fun. And I also do a lot of reading for children in the neighborhood. So if a grandparent has a favorite book of a child and they want me to read the book for them, I can do that too.
Awesome. So you're not really retired. So you retired from the gig and then you started a business is what you've done.
That's right. That's right. I can put on a t-shirt and I can be at work in about 35 seconds. Works out really well.
There you go. And do you have a studio that you use, or?
I built a studio in my upstairs extra room. Didn't want to be too far from my husband. So I have 2 walls of foam and 2 walls of quilted moving blankets. It's amazing the things you can do. And so I just hung them on metal bookcases. So the blankets are on the metal bookcases, and then the walls are holding the tiles, the acoustic tiles. And I have a piece of felt on top of my head. So I have the sound quality that my clients need. And I work when I want to. Isn't that the greatest thing?
That is it. And that's exactly what I was telling my wife. So I moved from one of our offices into a small corner of one of our rooms so that I had more room to do what I wanted. And it's just 5 foot by 4 foot. But the key to a good Zoom video is good lighting, right? And so we've got a green screen back here. We got a green screen back here. So Patricia, how do people reach you, or what sort of clientele are you looking for?
I am looking for anybody who needs a voice to explain something. You could be explaining a new process at work. You could be explaining a new product to employees or a new product to customers. A calm, detailed voice. And I'm also exploring nonfiction work under another subscription service. Again, I can be silly, but I can't maintain that. I can't maintain silly voices. A lot of people are really talented, and they can be Uncle George at the top of the page and Aunt Mary at the bottom of the page, and throw in some cute quips from the child playing with the wagon. Yeah, not an actor, a talent. I'm a voice talent because I'll take the time to just explain every bit by bit of your new process, or perhaps a corporate narration of your history. You want to talk about the 50 years that you've been in Nashville making the best hamburgers ever known to mankind. And so I can take your story and make it lively on the air. I can keep people engaged because I can go more slowly, or I can get really high and be silly about it and just keep pulling that ear in. We learn in different ways. And I think a lot of people learn by listening. And we know that people listening to books to the library. Isn't that a hidden gem in Nashville, that you can get audible books for your vehicles at home, your what are they called? The machines at home. You can
Right.
download books and listen there. And also there's recording for persons who are blind. They can hear books because somebody goes in and reads a book for them. So that's a wonderful thing that Nashville has, and maybe other communities too, but we're talking about Nashville.
That's right. We are. Well, but it is cool, the app that you can download, and you can read digital books or listen to all those audios. And that's what I love about the explosion of podcasts as well. I do 5 podcasts currently, a Wichita, Kansas one, a Nashville one, one about my barter business. Then I do one, we call that Bada Bing, Bada Boom. It's just
perfect.
Yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
it's really good. And then we do the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul with my friend out in New York. And then we do the Edward Show for people that don't fit into Middle Tennessee or to Wichita, Kansas. On those 2 podcasts, we do this podcast globally about the Edward Show. If you interest me and you live outside of those 2 cities, I'd love to have you on the Edward Show. So having the proliferation, there's another good word, proliferation. I'm using all my college words for the day. We could extrapolate from that. No, I don't even know how to use that, but that's okay.
Oh, you did it just right. Well done.
We could extrapolate from that I do like words. For me, it's like when everybody was saying during COVID, pivot. I said, we used to say paradigm shift, but pivot's probably smaller, but it's a paradigm shift in how we had to do stuff. We'd say ideal client. Remember, we'd talk to people about their ideal client back in the day. Now it's their avatar.
That's right.
It's same thing, different words, right? So you were going to reference before our internet went unstable, talking about networking events and how we connect. And do you recall what you were going to talk about?
Yes. In fact, I noticed that I've got a friend through church, a young woman at church who uses a wheelchair. She has cerebral palsy, but she's opened a business called Paradise Shells. She sells jewelry online, a company called Paradise Shells. So I connected them with another couple who are building a group home for adults with disabilities of various colors. And so perhaps could be a connection between, perhaps a fundraising opportunity to showcase that people with disabilities can still have an entrepreneurial spirit and make products available to others. So I think that was a good connection. I'm tickled to make that happen.
Yeah, and I met a lady out of New York that she writes for a living, and she's blind, but she's a copywriter. So I think in this day and age, we're in such a great, there's still work to be done, but there is so much that we have access to that we've never had before. I think it's a better time than ever before to have access to that sort of stuff. She'll get on Zoom with me and we will talk, and she uses different tools to write her copy. So I think there's a lot of limitations being removed. So it'll be exciting as more and more of those walls come down. And I think podcasts are a great way for people to listen to stuff and to to learn. We've all drive around in our car these days. We can just have podcasts playing or Audible books playing and be picking up different skill sets all the time.
Indeed. Even when we take our exercise, if we're walking through the wonderful Warner Parks in West Nashville and Bellevue, you can plug into a podcast and hear what the Ed Show is all about today.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I looked over your bio and stuff. You've done a lot of things over the years, and you encapsulated and just gave us a little bit about that. But I also see on your Zoom background, you're a proud member of the Happy Neighborhood Project. Tell me a little bit about that. I've been on a lot of their networking calls over the years, but tell me a little bit about the Happy Neighborhood Project for those that may not be familiar.
Well, there's one word that a lot of people like. The word is free. And the Happy Neighborhood Project is free. There are some 40 meetings per week, Tuesday through Saturday, where you can talk to people through Zoom and look for referral partners. You don't have to get in there and sell. You can talk to people about what you're able to do and whom do they recommend they call to make a connection and perhaps do some business. So the Happy Neighborhood Project sets up meetings throughout the day, Tuesday through Saturday. You can register at the happyneighborhoodproject.com page. And I'm a co-host for the business to business. So that's a little narrow group. If you have a business that is going to support another business. So I talk to mortgage bankers or investors or pet sitters, if I can be of support to them.
When is the B2B one on?
B2B is Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Central Time. And it is a global community. We have members from 5 different countries. They all do speak English for me. Thank you very much. That's all I can present to people. But we have people coming in from Australia and from England and Canada. And so it's great fun to meet people. And I was going to be in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I was really close to getting to meet somebody face to face, but the schedules didn't work out. So that's kind of fun. And we have a big happiness summit on October 6th. Now that's a big price of $10. To have speakers from all across the world, 10 to 6 p.m. I think that is going to happen. But closer to home, also networking, you can come to the Taste of Bellevue October 1. We're going to have a big party. We're going to have youth events. We're going to have special bites of food from all of our great restaurants in town. We're going to have wonderful musicians playing, and we invite people to come out and get a taste of Bellevue on October 1.
That'd be awesome. And so I need to keep in touch with you because as these things come on, I need to be on the B2B. I just launched a business coaching, business ideas that I've given it away for free for years. And all my friends said, look, you need to start charging something so people value it. So I think I'm just going to do like a monthly subscription because I want to really help small business owners, right? They're the ones that are struggling. And how do you move from 0 to 100,000 a year to 300,000 a year to 500,000 a year to $1 million a year? And the other one is African-American business owners. Only 20% of them ever grow above $20,000 in annual revenue. And that to me is frustrating because there's such amazing ideas, such amazing people, but they haven't been able to have business mentors that can help them grow their business. And so I want to work in those fields and help. I got a million ideas, just like my round tuits and my guy that, you know, is going to be
dad jokes.
Yeah, just dad jokes and books. Like I challenged a friend to write 10 books in 10 days. He's like, that's impossible. I said, no, it's not impossible. It's challenging, but you could write 10 99-cent books on Kindle Create, upload them into Kindle, and have them in 10 days. I said, because they're just primers. You're just sort of giving the cliff notes of so many different things that you've done. So he's telling me about gigging frogs. Are you familiar with frog gigging?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, capturing and then noodling catfish. So you noodle catfish, but you gig frogs. So I said, I'd read a 99-cent book on Kindle about noodling catfish. And I said noodling frogs and giggling catfish. He said, no. Gigging frogs, noodling catfish. I said, there's a great title, Giggling Frogs and Noodling Catfish, or whatever. I said, you could write 10 books in 10 days. ChatGPT can help you outline, and then you just fill in the blanks. Don't get ChatGPT to write the book. You write the book. But
Good.
I think people need to be challenged that there's so many things that they can do out there if they want to be a voiceover actor, right? They can do that. There's people there that will teach them that. If they want to be voice talent, but not a voice actor where they're changing I can't do accents. I can only do my accent. That's it.
You got one good one.
That's that's all I got. I had a friend in Wichita who was a radio guy. He's a Rick Reagan voiceover guy. And his Australian accent is better than mine.
Oh, my.
He is really good, but he can do this acting stuff. So he gets a lot of gigs as, not frogs, but gigs as doing like Russian, Dwarven video game characters. And he will do the dialogue for these, with the Russian. I'm not even going to try, but you can go to Rick Reagan voiceovers and he's got all these different samples on his website, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't have that talent. No.
That's okay. He's not going to take care of people and give them their opportunities or vignettes of their lives all across the world with your podcast. You're doing a great job with that.
I need to have him on. That'd be cool. He could be on the Wichita one. Patricia, so when you're not working and you're not starting businesses and you're not helping people, what do you do for fun? What's your hidden gems?
Oh, my hidden gems. We love to go to eat at the Loveless Cafe, which is lovely. I like to visit the Warner Parks. There's such a variety of topography over here. We can hike through there or go on the flatlands and play ball. So that's good fun at Warner Park. And I do enjoy my company at the YMCA. Not only do I have exercise opportunity, we also have the senior center for lots of fun things. I've gone to movies there. I've seen people play cards and play mahjong. I went to a recycling lesson there. So I invite people to not only go to the YMCA to exercise, but to meet people. Stay alive. You are connecting to people all the time, Ed, and that helps you keep energized and learn new things.
That's true. In fact, my friend in New York just started a nonprofit called Simons for Seniors. The Simon memory game where you push the button and you have to follow. So he shipped me 130 Simons. Oh, no, sorry, 20 Simons. He had 130, but he shipped 20 of them to me. And he said, you're my new chapter president for Tennessee. We're going to start a Simons for Seniors chapter. And so what we do is, if you know any senior centers, I guess this is a commercial for Simons for Seniors, but if you know any, this is our Zoom background for Simons for Seniors. And so we set up and we play the Simons game, and we normally get like Panera to sponsor or something, can do cookies and that sort of stuff. But yeah, seniors, we're missing out on a lot of talent that's out there. We say, oh, here's a senior center, here's a retirement home, go over there. But we're missing out on all the knowledge that they have, and we have to keep them active and interacting and stuff. And so I'm enjoying doing this, and we're looking to do our first event in the next couple of months. So if you know anybody, folks, if you're out there listening to this and you might have a senior center or not an assisted living or a memory care, those don't really work. They get frustrated with the Simons, but more your independent living or your senior centers, that we can come in, we'll bring in the Simons, we'll set it up, we'll just play for an hour, have some fun. Not super competitive, but just to get around them. Maybe you got a youth group that wants to meet at your church with some of the seniors and teach them how to play that. And it might be the older folks teaching the kids, because when I talk to kids, they've not heard of Simon. But
they're missing out.
They're missing out because it's not a current video game, is it? So, it's not a shoot 'em up. Right. So exactly. So you've got the hidden gems were the YMCA, Loveless Cafe, and the Warner Parks.
Indeed. Awesome. But I'm going to send to you a link for the B2B meeting and to my senior citizen center in Bellevue. And also don't forget October 1 to come out to Taste of Bellevue.
Taste of Bellevue. Yeah, if there was room, we could do a cricket demo too.
Ooh.
I got all the cricket gear. I brought it down from Wichita the other day. So I've got some gear that I've been teaching kids how to play cricket, or teaching anybody that will stand still long enough for me to put a bat in their hand, actually. Are you a pickleballer at all?
I have played just for 20 minutes or so. Okay. They made the paddles too short. I'm used to a nice tennis racket. Right. But there's a great flat place in the Warner Parks, and I bet the Warner Parks would want to hear from you about showing out some cricket. I bet I think there's space for that.
Connect us maybe or send me the information. That'd be great. Patricia, great having you on the show. Let's end with a couple of your favorite words.
I do like pivot. I do like joy. It's very small. It fits in. We need to use it more. I like obstreperous, which is close to obsequious, obstreperous. People can be obstreperous, and we have to avoid that. We got to focus more on joy and get away from obstreperous.
What does obstreperous mean for those of us that aren't sure? Me.
I would use in a short word, cranky.
Okay.
Cranky.
Yeah.
But keep the words flowing, Ed, and keep connecting. It keeps our blood flowing and keeps us sharing with other people. It's tremendous.
There you go. Hey, thank you so much for being on the show, Patricia, and we'll check in with you in a little while.
Thank you, sir. Take care of you.
This is the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.